After the tornado, Mike's mother Tara, who worked as a journalist, began investigating the strange events happening across the city. She was convinced that supernatural forces were involved. Her editor was not interested. She had to convince him that the story would be huge before he agreed to let her look into it. That afternoon Mike came home to find X already inside his apartment. She was there for his comics. He refused to hand them over. X summoned the crying man against his will. The superhero had no choice but to follow the order of whoever held his comic. And the crying man went after Mike. Mike jumped from the window and summoned Mummy Girl to catch him. They regrouped on the roof terrace. X followed with gravity alongside her. Mummy Girl was overpowered and went down. Mike called the Black Knight. The Black Knight refused to engage and kept retreating. X sent the crying man after them again and the pair were cornered. Mike summoned Syl and created another tornado. X hit it with Great Finger's punch and it broke apart. Mike was on the ground, exhausted, with Lucky coming straight at his backpack. He waited. At exactly the right moment he moved, and Lucky missed. Mike reached into the chaos, found the crying man's comic, which had been swept up during the tornado, and called him back. The crying man sent every one of X's heroes flying. And in the silence after the battle, Mike looked at the masked girl and saw her clearly for the first time. It was Lucy. He picked up the comics and walked away, not yet ready to say it out loud. The next day after school Lucy called and asked to meet. She sat down across from him and told him everything. The man who created all the magical comics was her Uncle Scott. When she was young, Scott had been her favorite person in the world and his comic books had been her whole life. Her father found out and put a stop to it, cutting off all contact and telling Lucy that Scott was a failure and a waste of time. She had not seen her uncle since. Then 2 months ago a letter arrived. Scott told her she was the only person he trusted. He asked her to find the comics and keep them safe because they could not fall into the wrong hands. When she reached his old apartment, all the comics were gone. Only one remained, Great Fingers. From that day on she had been working to gather them all back. Nick stepped out from behind the couch. He had been listening the whole time. He held up his phone and showed them both a video spreading across the internet. Dirk had joined a group of rebels and given them all comic books. Together they had declared war on San Francisco. That night the gang attacked. They sent their superheroes against the police and nobody could stop them. Tara arrived with her camera and filmed everything. Dirk grabbed a megaphone and announced himself as the leader of the Comics Council, calling on every person who had ever been dismissed or looked down on to join him in a revolution powered by magical comic books. Mike and his friends moved through the crowd helping the injured and doing their best to prevent anyone else from getting hurt. The crying man went after one of the enemy heroes and was captured. While trying to break free, he discovered that his tears made the plant-based enemy grow even stronger. He called Lucky to help and together they pushed back. Then Spark-Hules electrocuted the crying man with a bolt of lightning and he went down. Nick was almost hit by a vehicle and Tara pulled him out of the way at the last second. She was stunned to find her son's best friend in the middle of a war zone. She grabbed Nick and tried to get him clear. One of the rebels summoned the Locust, which attacked Lucky and swept both Mike and Lucy off their feet. Mike hit the ground and did not immediately get up. Lucy rushed to him. The moment she reached him, Dirk sent his strongest heroes to finish them both off. Lucy called Gravity, who used his infinity drill to hold the enemies back. Syl created a tornado around all of them at once, trapping every enemy hero inside it together. The entire group went down at the same moment. Dirk was the last one standing. He looked at all his fallen allies and made one final decision. He collected every fuel-filled vehicle he could find and ordered Spark-Hules to ignite them all at once. The explosion would be large enough to destroy the entire city. Mike closed his eyes. He reached out with his mind in every direction at once and called every hero whose comic he had ever touched. They came all at once: Crying Man, Mummy Girl, Black Knight, Syl, Great Finger, and every other hero he had encountered across the city. They moved as a single force, lifting every vehicle off the ground and launching them upward into the sky. The explosion happened far above the clouds, where it could not reach anyone. Mike collapsed the moment it was over. When he opened his eyes, The people of San Francisco were standing around him, and they were applauding. Dirk was taken away. Somewhere across the city, Lucy's Uncle Scott heard the news and felt relieved. Dirk had only ever been a tool in a much larger plan. Someone else's plan, one that had not yet fully revealed itself. Scott knew this, and he knew the story was not finished.